welcome. This is
My Dota
Tickle here,
crashed.
joined by SChubbe, which Dota did crash, so I am going to be casting, even though there's a pause going. No, never mind. It's resumed now. So the draft is pretty interesting. I mean, it's pretty even on both sides. There was a ban on the Axe as well as a ban on the Troll, which pretty much shows exactly what this patch is worth. Please, Ice Frog. Anyhow, there is a first pick Sniper on the Dire team, and on the Radiant team, and there is a first pick Shadow Shaman, which takes us back to 6.81, the age of AA and Shadow Shaman. Fun patch that was. Titanhunter, Shadow Shaman could have a pretty decent combo with the big disables going out, Gush, and the Shackles as well as the Hex could come in handy. Let's not forget about the Ravage. So there is going to be a Sven and a Disruptor ban. A lot of teamfight potential is being removed from the pool for the Radiant side, while there is a lot of single target DPS that is being banned out by the Radiant team, such as Slark or even Viper. Warlock is going to be picked, adding on to that extra big AoE ultimate with the golems, adding to that extra stun and disable. Most of it probably to counter the Magnus RP that would be coming out. What do you think, SChubbe?
I think it's an interesting draft since, well, we got the offlane Tidehunter probably, and the two supports. Warlock is rarely seen these days as a support. He's more often played as a core, in my opinion, since the golems are that good. But
well, there is a Skywrath mage that's going to be picked on the Radiant side, which could also add to the combo with the RP if they pull off correctly. But then again, there's so much disable on the other side, which could lead to misexecution there from the Radiant team. A single missed RP on the Tide or the Warlock, or even the Shadow Shaman, that Magnus really needs to get that 5-man RP in order to be able to get any sort of work done in that team fight. This game is really gonna go in terms of, is that Magnus gonna get the RP? Unless they get some other core which also has some big team fight ultimate, but that's strongly doubt that for some reason. So we are waiting for the fourth pick here of the draft. They did pause quite a few times, so I think they did have quite a bit of time to think, but for some reason they don't know what to pick. In my opinion right now, they need a mid laner and a carry. They need something that's actually going to do and dash out the DPS. A lot of that was banned on the Radiant side, such as Troll and Slark, but there's still a wide pool of heroes that could be picked in this draft.
what do you think they will end up going for as a mid or a farming carry here?
I think SF would fit in this lineup, even though he's slightly squishy. The fact that this team could play easily a 4+1, they could easily protect the Shadow Fiend up to the 20-minute mark, and then the 20-minute mark take a big fight. And if the RP does not deliver, which might not, oh, that's an interesting pick. The Death Prophet can still go as a carry, and I still think that the Shadow Fiend would fit, due to the fact that even though there's a lot of range, and I think they still need a melee carry, but Shadow Fiend would have been a good pick here because of the AoE ultimate, but there is going to be a Zeus that's going to be picked in order to counter this big teamfight orientated team on the side of the Dire. The Death Prophet ultimate is going to be eating through the team fights and the towers all throughout this game, especially with the double stun AoE team fight orientated draft, especially with the wards as well. There is a very strong push potential on this team as well, because due to the Golem, the wards, and the Death Prophet ultimate, we could be seeing a very, very early push coming through by this Dire team. Especially they don't really have that much late game. They did ban anti-mage, and I think the reason why they did so is because they really do not have that much late game right now. The Radiant team did ban out PA, which also suggests that they know that the enemy team does not have any sort of late game, and PA would have, I don't think it would have fit the lineup really, because their the PA is very single target, and the most of the team here is very AoE based nukes as well as disables. Henceforth, I think there should be an AoE nuke disable carry. Juggernaut would have been great, but unfortunately got second banned by the Dire team. So let's wait and see here what this Dire team is going to pick. They do have 30 seconds of extra reserve time, so I really don't know what type of hero they could pick here as a carry. There's very limited choice, I guess, as in terms of an AoE carry. So they are going to go for the Naga Siren. If they get that Radiance up early, they should be able to fight with that AoE again, once again with the Radiance burn on the illusions, and the negative armor coming out from the Riptide, which will strongly help any sort of damage that the golems do. Because, actually no, the golems now have pure damage, don't they? So, that's pretty interesting. That was an interesting buff to Warlock. That's probably why he's being picked a lot more in this patch. I think it was actually buffed in like 6.82C, I'm
Seriously?
not sure. Yeah, the damage from the Warlock is actually now pure.
Oh, I must have missed that. I do like the Naga pick
yeah,
though.
It was a small patch.
I got to say, I do like the Naga pick. I
definitely-
think they're gonna be able to create a lot of space with these 4 other heroes for her to farm. And if she gets that Radiance quite early in the game, like 16-minute mark or 15 or something like that, they will have like a good chance to just stomp over their enemy and render them completely useless for mid game.
I mean, the other thing that I find pretty interesting with this Naga Siren is the ultimate, which will give a good amount of counter initiation to this Sand King or even this Magnus RP, which is a very prevalent threat in this very squishy team. Very squishy indeed. They do have really squishy heroes. I mean, the Nagas only have a total of like what 500 HP right now, which doesn't really mean much, but she has poor strength gain, and the Warlock, the Shadow Shaman, and the Death Prophet don't really have that great of a strength gain in late game, so they might have to look to end this because I guess the Naga can carry out into late game, but nevertheless, I don't think this is a fight that they want to take onto late game in terms of cores. So there is going to be a 4-man stack on near top rune. The Death Prophet is going to go back towards middle to creep block, and there is a dire offensive ward that's going to be placed near the bottom rune. I don't think this rune will actually not have vision. The bottom rune will actually not have vision on the rune at night. So that was an interesting placement there by Tidehunter. If he placed it a tiny little bit higher, he would have actually been able to get that night sight from the rune, which is interesting. There is going to be 3-man stack on top rune, 3-man stack on bottom rune. The sniper and the Naga Siren will get those bounty runes, and that bounty rune buff was really OP, I believe, in terms of the amount of golden XP it gives. Basically it gives half a level. So there's a block coming out from no. Yes, there was the pole camp that did get blocked by the Magnus. The Magnus did walk there and block the pole camp, so he does have that fairly little bit of vision on the jungle, and he will not have that pull, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But in terms of the offlane, he does pull the creeps back. So bottom line, there is going to be a pull coming out from Skyrath, and Tide is going to have a pretty decently hard lane here. He is going to say dual lane. No, not even a dual lane, a solo lane sniper, so maybe if the sniper's not careful, might get gushed, and that might end up in a kill, since Sniper did go for the Wraith Band and 2 tangos pulled by one of his supports.
We weren't talking about this earlier, but the DP is mid. Do you still believe the ultimate is strong enough?
It depends for what usage they're gonna put it down for. It depends really on what fights they're gonna take. If the DP pops their ultimate before the RP and gets RP'd, I think that's nevertheless a one team fight for the Dire team, because there's just nothing they can do. They can't really fight under a DP ultimate, and if they do get RP'd, even though there's the DP ultimate that's on, it's really just gonna do more harm than good, especially if the Warlock
Top rune?
gets... Yeah, there might be a little bit of concession here. There is a Zeus coming for backup, and there is a skewer available. Blocks coming out from Magnus, but the skewer will be missed, and Zeus will take that into his rune. Ganks might be going out. Sand King is also jungling. He's still level 1 by minute 2, and he did stack one camp. He did stack one camp once, which is rather interesting. He didn't really finish his big camp, and he is looking to farm that big camp that he stacked, but level 1 Sandstorm not really gonna do much here. Zeus is gonna be dealing that little bit of damage to DP, and is gonna be popping his clarity, his second and last clarity. In the meantime, top lane, here's the Magnus being zoned out. Is not getting in any sort of farm, but is getting the XP. The supports are really not doing that much to zone him out, and he is able to stay pretty greedily in the lane. He does have his Shockwave, which is able to get a few CS probably, but he's still just conserving his mana right now. And in terms of CS, the Naga is on top with 16 last hits, and she is being babysitted by these two supports here, which could do a way better job of zoning the offlaner out. In the meantime, there is bottom lane a sniper with a Skywrath that is babysitting him, yet he is only 2 CS behind the Naga, and there is maybe possibly a kill that's going to be going onto the TIE Hunter. This CK, no not CK, Sand King did rotate, and Sniper does get the first blood. That's a great rotation by the Sand King here, because he was finally able to get that level 2, which will help him a slight bit in his jungling. And Sniper does pop a solve there, but gets cancelled by creeps, so Naga does choose to go into the Magnus up top, does use her shock, does choose to use her Riptide and her illusions, but does not get any sort of kill. Magnus does get low, but did have a wand, so he was fine. There's a Warlock on top rune does get pinged out, and Magnus will get that top rune, but he does get Fatal Bonded, as well as Shadow Word? Shadow Word.
Yeah.
He might actually die from this. Never mind. That was very good failed bonds there from this Warlock. If the illusions had lasted a little longer. Oh, which they did. Warlock chasing after the illusion. Not gonna get much of a follow up there. Skywrath did smoke and is looking to make a rotation on mid, so let's see if he can make that happen. There is a Dire Zova ward here that has not spotted him. There still is more than half the time on this smoke, but DP did go bottom, so there's no way for the Skywrath to know this. Skywrath is rotating back to bottom and might find DP in the jungle here. This could be a disaster for Skywrath. DP is level 6 and does have that ultimate. Does not have a single point in silence though. So ultimate does get popped by this Prophet, and the Lightning Bolt also does get thrown out, but nothing really much is done by this Zeus to try and save his teammate there. Death Prophet might look to push a tower here with her ultimate. Did get a kill and could still the duration's not gonna last long enough, unfortunately. Do you think that was a misuse of her ultimate, SChubbe?
Well, nowadays the ultimate cooldown is really long, since they nerfed it. But I don't know. I would rather have seen her really the Dire team forming up and pushing the tower like at the 6-minute mark or something like that, because they do have the lineup. The Tide is not getting close to his blink, but when he gets that level 6, I think they should be forcing some team fights. I
think the Death Prophet actually probably didn't make a mistake there by popping that ultimate, because as soon as the Death Prophet gets her ultimate back, the two supports will probably be level 6, which will mean... Actually, no, Warlock's still level 2. Oh my god. That was... Wow, I was not expecting that. Sand King is also only level 3, so... Pretty interesting rotations there by Warlock. Should probably get some XP soon. On the offhand, there is a level 4 Shadow Shaman, which should probably be level 6 soon because he's babysitting this Naga on top lane. Still still does not understand that the camp is blocked. Actually, it probably will not block. The next spawn will actually spawn because the ward's going to expire right now. Naga getting decent farm, does have 43 last hits by the 7-minute mark, so almost perfect farm here. And Tide is getting zoned out of his offlane. Did get a stout shield and is maxing out his Kraken shell, so interestingly enough, he is looking for that tankiness that this team desperately needs.
Warlock actually Warlock actually ended up dying on bot lane to the sniper.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Top lane, nothing happened. The Shadow Shaman really could get a kill here if he manages to get a shackle. A shackle or a hex would mean a kill. And Magnus being very careful here with the creep equilibrium and his positioning in terms of the creep wave. Magnus might be going for the top rune here. Death Prophet nowhere in sight, is going back to base, so he might be able to secure this top rune for himself. Warlock is stacking the camps here and did manage to get a single stack on the big camp. Magnus did get a regeneration rune and is just gonna take out a few right clicks on Warlock and Warlock pings him out. Actually no, Naga pings the Magnus out and there might be a follow-up. Shadow Shaman is in position, might get a shackle on him. No, just gets a single right click and then walks away. Did take creep arrow as well, so this might backfire on him. Does pull the big camp in and big camp should finish these creeps here. There is a rotations from the supports here and Sniper also top with the Mask of Madness does get that cleanup on the Shadow Shaman who was farming that big camp. There is also a rotation for the Naga, big commitment, but heal comes on to the Naga and Naga will live. Sniper is going on deep and completely missed Ravage there by the Tidehunter. That was rather interesting. The Warlock will save up and still level 3, does not have any sort of AoE except for his Fatal Bonds there. Sniper is still there, does have an assassination available. The Naga song will be popped, beautiful Naga song, and if Death Prophet ultis there, there is going to be a huge carnage. And Mask of Madness is popped by the Sniper, Sniper will run, and Magnus still didn't die. There is an ultimate coming out from the Zeus, and that is a double kill from the Sniper, really cleaning up with this Mask of Madness. Looking for the third kill here. Naga, will she make it? Shockwave does come out and does get the kill. Magnus, a 3-man wipe top. Brilliant Zeus ultimate there by Zeus on the top lane. Did rotate there, so didn't get much, but that ultimate was a game changer in terms of that team fight.
One of the strengths of the Zeus really is to like to just be able to be there anywhere on the map.
Yeah, that Zeus ultimate really changed the team fight completely. And unfortunately, I think that the team fight would have gone better if there was a level 6 on the Warlock instead of a level 6 on the Shadow Shaman.
Or a Ravage.
Shaman speaking, yeah, or a Ravage. The Ravage was completely missed, which was unfortunate, but I think he was expecting the Sniper to overcommit, which frankly would not have happened either way. There is a TP bottom, and Magnus is also bottom. They are looking for a kill on this Tidehunter, and they will get it. Unstoppable Sniper by minute 10, which is rather interesting. Skyrath, which did rotate bottom, and then is going to rotate back to the jungle. This Sun King does not have blink yet, and
Zeus is going on to the DP, and thanks to the haste he will get her.
Naga might also fall here. If Zeus does try and get... Nah, he's just gonna go back to middle and try and push this tower. Assassination does come on Warlock bottom, and Warlock does come extremely close to dying, but thanks to his heal is going to live. Sniper, very low bottom if there's a rotation from anyone, but looks like he's gonna go back to base, or at least farm the jungle. Stay out of lane. I think Tidehunter spotted this low health Sniper. No, he's just gonna go and farm those ancients that he's been stacking. This triple stacked ancients really paying off for this Tidehunter who's really in need of a blink for his Ravage to be any sort of effectful right now. The only way that the Dire could really get a good team fight right now is really if they only get a proper Ravage or a proper song into a Ravage, or And the pause comes out. It's the same guy who paused during the draft as well. Interesting sniper set overall. It's a new sniper set from the new chest. It's I don't think I really like this set.
The one-eyed sniper.
Yeah. It looks okay. It's not great, but it looks okay. I mean, Sand King does have epicenter as well, so that should be pretty big. If they manage to get a blink up on the Sand King at the next 3 minutes, they should be able to get a decent team fight. And if they manage to kill kill the cores again in that team fight, then that should probably be a very hard situation to come back from. Even though Naga's not gonna get a 15-minute radiance. I strongly doubt that.
I'm kind of skeptical about the Radiance too, cause she did go for the Aquila. Which usually if you go for Radiance, I only see boots and Quilling Blade, and maybe a TP. But she has a Aquila and a bottle.
Yeah.
That sets her back already like 1.8k. She would have the relic already if she didn't bought those.
I think that's a slight problem. I think this Naga is actually playing as if she was playing a pub game. Because she's not, I don't think, due to the bottle, the Aquila, adding that extra armor, I guess the Aquila could be justifiable in order to keep a creep equilibrium, but I think the bottle really is just to be able to stay in lane and keep using Riptide as well as her illusions to farm the jungle. I think it's slightly, I think the Naga wasn't, when she bought those items, wasn't expecting her team to lose the early game like this. I think that's the reason why she bought those items. So she was more or less thinking, you know, if I get a 20-minute radiance, it's not as bad as if I got a 15-minute radiance, because my team should be able to not lose this early game. And turns out they did, so Naga in a pretty bad position right now due to her item choice, and I'll have to see if she's able to catch that back up.
We were both talking in the draft
In the
that
meantime,
the Dire team do have to push early to win this, because they lack some late game that the Radiant do have. What do you think? It's 10 minutes. We haven't seen any big pushing items really, or like any pushes coming out from the Dire. What do you think that's all about?
well, there's not really. I think the Dire is really overconfident about their Naga. I think they're putting all the faith that all the eggs in one basket, and if that Naga doesn't get that Radiance fast, then there's not going to be any sort of way that they can come back from this. I mean, looking at the gold graph, for instance, there's already a swing, a 4,000 gold swing by minute 10 to the Radiant side, which is pretty significant in terms of demonstrating how this could quickly take a turn in terms of what could happen here. I mean, the Blink Dagger status on the Tide, for instance, is very far, while the Magnus and the Sand King should be able to get their Blink Daggers very soon, so probably in the next minute or two, which would mean that if they do get those Blink Daggers, they can probably go for a full team fight, and unless this Naga manages to counter-initiate with her song, it's gonna be another disaster, and probably loss of tier 1s, maybe even tier 2s. So they really need to farm those heroes, and unpause is coming from the Radiant team here, and kind of odd really. Sand King is being microed to farm the jungle. I don't know what's happening here. Sand King is still DC'd, so slightly odd. But Naga is getting fairly low, does bubble up, and should be fine here. Magnus almost has his blink, is farming that top lane freely, and Warlock not really or never mind, not Warlock, Shadow Shaman not really harassing. Getting a couple of right clicks in, but nothing to keep this Magnus out of lane no more. There is a Riptide used, and Shackle and that negative armor doing a ton of work on this Magnus. RP is used. There's gonna be a skewer. Yes, skewer to the tower, ultimate, and that is a very dead top lane from the Dire. The courier almost died there as well. It's still a walking courier by minute 12 for the Dire here. DP does pop her ultimate and she is half HP. Zeus will bottle up and follow up with the lightning bolt. Tries to find her in the fog, but DP just gonna go back to her jungle. That was a very interesting team fight. All the tides turned by Zeus. Very well played by Magnus. Very well played indeed. RP into Skewer, into lightning bolt, into Zeus ultimate. That was absolutely ridiculous. Sand King did reconnect and, or never mind, did not reconnect. Did he reconnect?
Yeah, he's back, it seems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it. He's still green. I think that's a bug in Dota TV.
Must be. You were saying earlier in the draft that the game will be all about the RPs. We just saw one of those
Well, there you
RPs.
go. Yeah, that was... I thought that Magnus was gonna die, honestly. That was very interesting. Turn of events there. If only the Shadow Shaman had not used Hex to be able to get the shackle off. The Shadow Shaman should have positioned himself better at the start so that he could have hexed at the end of the shackle, which would have probably guaranteed a kill there, and guaranteed that that Magnus did not RP, because he should have known that the RP was going to be out there. Skywrath Mage does get a kill on the solo Shadow Shaman here, and his team too slow to react. There is a blink on the Zeus, and Lightning Bolt will fly out, and DP will go very low. DP is looking to be a little bit greedy here, and that's a very dead DP. Never mind. Lives through the Zeus ultimate, and well, Zeus might end up dying here. And the overcommitting DP does end up paying for her. Wow, this is really mistakes being made by the Dire. The DP and the Warlock trying to get a kill in this mid lane Zeus, and who was up the cliff and dewarding and does have a blink now as well, so Zeus just simply too strong with the lightning bolt and the lightning thingy, the Q. I don't know what it's
Lightning.
called, lightning shock.
Arc lightning.
Arc lightning.
I really think the Zeus should have died there.
Yeah, he really should have. That was overcommitment by him, but then that Death Prophet with 10% HP walking in and trying to get that kill was a little bit greedy in my opinion, especially since the Lightning Bolt does have a longer range than the Sora Crypt Swarm, so that was an interesting decision by her. There is a blink on the Zeus, and there is also a blink on the Sand King and the Magnus, so plays and team fights should come out here. There is a rotation by the Dire top, and Sand King just walks next to the Tidehunter, and there is a Death Prophet ultimate that has been popped. Tidehunter does have Ravage available, and Ravage will once again hit nothing, and Zeus ultimate will hit the Tidehunter, and Tidehunter really not being as useful as he should be in this game. Zeus gonna clean up this creep wave with Arc Lightning, which is almost maxed by the way, and smoke does fly out from the Radiant team. They might look to have an initiation here. There is a RP and an epicenter available, so this could turn out disastrous. There is no Zeus ultimate available, so they might still be able to clean up. RP, Shockwave, and there is as well a Skewer to just for the damage though, and Naga Song. That was wow. There is a blink from the Zeus, and very last second indeed. Bottle up from the Naga, and the Naga will live. Sniper does pick up a kill on that Warlock though, which should commit in order to try and save this Naga, and Naga apparently not communicating with her team in order to stop those rotations. Naga is going to go towards bottom and try and farm that relic to get her 20-minute radiance that I've been talking about earlier. Sniper on the other hand did pick up a Sanjin Yasha, which does proc less on range, but still doing a lot of work with that Mask of Madness. So
Bottom lane.
is going to look for that kill on the Naga. Is going to Lightning Bolt, and that's a wicked sick Zeus. Zeus does have 1.9k gold in the bank, does bottle up, and brings back to lane to farm those creeps. This Naga is really not being protected well enough by her team. That would probably explain the bottle and the Aquila purchase. Sniper is going to get a kill on this Tidehunter. Does not commit the
GG is called.
assassination, but GG is called?
Yes, watch the chat.
I didn't see it.
We see the Death Prophet calling the GG. I don't think, since 10 seconds already has went, I don't think they're gonna give up
they're
just
recalling
yet.
it.
But it seems like she has.
Well, it does look pretty lost. I mean, the Zeus ultimates have been on point as well as the RPs. Really, the playmaker here is really Magnus. There's not been an epicenter yet on top of an RP. I would really like to see that. There is a Naga and a Death Prophet top. This could be absolutely horrible. Epicenter is being channeled, jumping from the Sand King and Shockwave to finish off this Naga Siren. Death Prophet ultimate does get popped, but it's only a level 1 exorcism, and Rated Naga also calls GG. This looks like the Dire team is really just giving up, and RP, Sandstorm, and the Wars do block this Death Prophet as well. Brilliant team play from the Dire there.
Ravage hits someone this time though.
And Sand King stun on the Warlock, but doesn't die. GG was called, and interesting play out of this match by the Dire here. Brilliant execution from the Magnus. That was an interesting game.
It was
Very
a really
interesting
fast game.
That was not fast enough for the Radiants to come out. Once again, putting all those eggs in that basket didn't really pay off, unfortunately.
Seems like there was some lack of communication also on the Dire team.
Yeah, for sure. There was a lack of communication for everything. The Naga ulti coming out and then leaving Warlock behind, which basically ended up killing him, for instance. And Warlock never had his ultimate. Like minute 20, still was not level 6, which is questionable in my opinion. So that was rather interesting in terms of how the game turned out to go for the Dire team. I think the lineup itself was a little bit too greedy as well, because honestly they needed a blink on the Tidehunter. They needed an Aghanims on the... They didn't need the Aghanims, but it would have been ideal to have an Aghanims on the Warlock, an Aghanims on the Shadow Shaman, a Radiance on the Naga, and a Yule Scepter on the DP. All those really early items that are needed for that team to have succeeded, and I think the overall draft was a little bit too greedy. They didn't have enough supports that could just do well on their own without any sort of items. Supports like Ogre Magi and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think there was a lack of communication and thought process there in terms of how are they going to lane this. I don't know. Pretty interesting game there, honestly.
So it was. So it was.
Like it?
Well,
Oh my god.
that's that game. Thanks for us. You wanna say something, Steeler?
Well, check out my Twitter at Tiklo and Tiklo_, and yeah, peace out, guys.
Yeah. You can follow us on our media. Everything's in my description on my Twitch and my YouTube. And
Check out
see you guys next time.
guys.